was auditioning. They were looking for a guy to be the next Bruce Lee, and they called the West Coast demonstration team because I trained with Ernie Reyes, and they said, well, should we bring the girls? And they went, yeah, you can bring them, but they're really looking for a guy. So we all auditioned. I did some forms, some fighting, self-defense, some weapons. And, Corey Yuen says, I want to go with the girl. And I had a goal. I wanted to be undefeated for 5 consecutive years. And I made that goal. And then I wanted to retire on top because I competed hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times, and I thought that was a record nobody could beat. So I wanted to go out on top. Sammo was mad because I was going over the guy's head, and I said, well, if I go to his face level, I'm going to hit him, right? And he's like, hit him.
Hey, Chronicle family, happy holidays and Merry Christmas to you all. Okay, big things are going today, I'm gonna tell ya. As I finally get the Queen of Martial Arts on the channel. Yes, you know I'm talking Grandmaster Cynthia Rothrock. But before we do, I want to thank you all for the continued support as we move on into the brand new year. You know we can't do this without you guys. It's a community now, and I'm so thankful for it. And do stick around to the end of the video so you guys can get some insider info on Cynthia's movie career and so much more. And speaking of sticking, go ahead and stick that landing with a like or comment down below to let me know that you're enjoying what we're doing, and then we can of course make more of that. Plus go ahead and comment down below on who you'd like to see next on the channel. Let's go. Kung Fu Chronicles today, I got an ultra special guest in the building. Really, she needs no introduction, but I'm gonna do it anyway. She's a martial artist, action star, an instructor, martial arts Hall of Famer, and upcoming star and producer of the new movie Black Creek, dubbed the Queen of Martial Arts, Cynthia Rothrock. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm so good, and thank you so much for doing this. Happy holidays and all that. So a couple, I got to meet you briefly at Dragon Fest this past year. It was a lot of fun. That was so cool. Our mutual friend Michael Matsuda through the museum, and that was awesome. And I also got to speak with one of your friends, Grandmaster Linda Denley, a couple weeks ago. I told her I was talking to you, so she's like, "Oh, tell Cynthia I said hi," and she's great. So I'm really excited. So let me get it started right away. I know you got 7 different styles that you're proficient in. You have black belts in martial arts. Let me see if I got them all right. Taekwondo, Tang Soo Do, Ying Jow Pai, which is my favorite. I'm a Ying Jow Pai guy. Northern Eagle Claw, Yin Kung Fu, Pai Lam Tao, Wushu. I'm sure I missed 1 or 2, but how did you get going? What was your initial first martial art?
I first started in Tang Soo Do. That was my first style when I was 13.
Right. And what was it specifically about Tang Soo Do was like, okay, I like this, I'm going to try this?
Well, back then, we're talking long time ago, there wasn't so many martial arts studios around, and nobody knew what it was, really. I didn't. I came from Scranton, Pennsylvania, and I had no clue what it was. And my girlfriend's parents were studying Tang Soo Do, and they owned a health club. And on weekends, they would come in and they would clean it, because the women wouldn't come in to work out then. And then they put their karate uniforms on, and they started doing forms. And I was like, wow, what is that? And they're like, yeah, it's karate. I'm like, damn it, what is it? And they go, we learn how to defend ourselves with our hands and feet. And I thought, that is so awesome. I've never heard of anybody doing that. And so I went home. I told my mom, and I said, I want to learn how to try this. It's like self-defense. My mom thought I was crazy, but she's like, okay. She was very supportive of all the crazy things I used to want to do when I was a kid.
Nice. And when, how long did it take when you were doing Tang Soo Do to get your first black belt? Because obviously you stuck with it.
Yeah, I got it actually pretty fast in like 2 years. But after my initial first belt, which was an orange belt, I entered a competition then. And at that time, it was just women, all ranks. They didn't have it divided by levels. So I ended up taking second. Black belt took first, black belt took third. And I thought, wow, I could be really good in this sport if I'm going to beat black belts, and I've only been studying 5.5 months, and that was in form and fighting. And I, from that point on, I went from going 2 to 3 times a week to 5 times a week. And I just trained like fanatically. I loved competing, and I really got into it. So I was studying like 5 times a week, and I got my black belt, I think, like in 2 years.
Oh, very nice, very nice. So yeah, obviously you got into the competing side. Now, did you back then even get the acting bug in you? Because I saw you posted on your Facebook a while ago. You had like an old KFC commercial. So was that like just kind of random?
Kentucky Fried Chicken and I are both masters at what we do. In karate, I'm number one.
No, actually, I did not. I didn't even think about doing movies. That Kentucky Fried Chicken commercial was when I was much older.
Oh,
like,
okay.
Yeah, that was like about 20 years later. But
oh, sweet, you look so young in that.
I know, I do, right? Well, that's good, right? Because I was younger than I am.
Oh, sweet. Oh, that's awesome.
So when that came along, I still didn't have any aspirations to act. To me, it was like I was on the cover of Karate Illustrated magazine, and some sports people were going by and they wanted to know who was the best in each field, and they said, oh, look, here's this girl, she's the best in martial arts. So they had like 5 different sports, and they called me and they said, we want you to do this Kentucky Fried Chicken commercial. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I was so excited. I was like, they give me $200 for dinner, and I'm going to buy a pizza for $10 and I have $190 left, and I just remember like they built a Kentucky Fried Chicken stand like inside a studio, and
way to serve our customers right.
then it wasn't really until I started thinking about acting is when Corey Yuen was auditioning. They were looking for a guy to be the next Bruce Lee. Yuen, who had Seasonal Films company in Hong Kong, wanted to find the next Bruce Lee. And they called the West Coast demonstration team because I trained with Ernie Reyes, and they said, well, should we bring the girls? And they went, yeah, you can bring them, but they're really looking for a guy. So we went down to Heel Cho's studio in Beverly Hills. We all auditioned. I did some forms, some fighting, self-defense, some weapons. Corey Yuen says, I want to go with the girl. I don't want a guy. I want to go with the girl. So that's how that started. So even when I did my first movie, Yes, Madam, I still didn't think I would have a career in film. I thought this was a one-time thing. Like, wow, what an experience. I'm going to be in a movie, And then after that movie with Michelle Yeoh became a big success, then I got a contract from Golden Harvest for 3 more pictures. And then I realized that's what my career, because at that time, I had a goal. I wanted to be undefeated for 5 consecutive years.
World's competition, right?
And I made that goal, and then I wanted to retire on top because I competed hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times, and I thought that was a record nobody could beat. So I wanted to go out on top, and then it just transitioned right from competing into movies. And then that was the point where I said, oh, now I'm going to do movies.
Nice, because you look like a kid back then, so
Yeah.
so cool. Hopefully you got a lot of free chicken.
I remember, I keep saying Kentucky Fried Chicken should do the commercial, now, what is it, like 30, 40 years later, still eating chicken.
Right. So let me back it up a little bit before I get into your the movies, because there's so many to get to. But I want to talk a little bit about your martial arts background and training. When you used to do specifically, remember the days when you would train in like Eagle Claw, for instance, which is my style. Back then, were you training privately with Master Shum, or how did that work, and how did you find that school?
How I found the school. I was competing, like I said, all over the East Coast, and I was competing at Henry Cho's tournament. I don't know if you remember that. The big tournament at Madison Square Garden.
Nice.
And I was doing weapons, and I met Benson Lee from Master Shum's school, and he was doing a double-headed spear form, and I was like, I've never seen anything quite like that. It was beautiful. I was so impressed. I was like, I have to learn that. And he said, I study Eagle Claw. So I lived in Scranton, Pennsylvania, so I drove up. It was about like 2.5 hours to
that's a drive to New York.
And met with Master Shum, and I said I was going to come every Sunday and train with him, and of course it was like, I want to learn double-headed spear form. Well, first you got to start with
right.
But eventually I did learn it, and I would go back and forth probably for about 3 years, and I studied privately with him every Sunday.
Yeah, it's so cool because, in fact, we're about to celebrate 50 years, believe it or not, since Master Shum brought the style to the U.S. next year in April. So that's coming up. I actually have a piece, since you mentioned that, People Benson doing that form.
Yes.
Yeah, it's kick ass. I remember when I saw this, the same thing. I had the same reaction. I was like, oh, I gotta learn this form, right? And it's just like so badass. And I was like, I begged my Sifu to teach me. And
Yeah, you see that move right there? I put that move in my first movie, Yes, Madam.
Yeah, well, also, you can tell me too, because China O'Brien, I love your series too.
There you go.
Yeah, I was like, I saw this the other night. I was like, oh, I gotta mention this, because it was like, you definitely borrowed that from Eagle Quiet. No, you must have, because it's like,
oh, right, absolutely, because that's how the form started. Remember, you pick it up with your foot and you catch it, and then you start your form, and definitely the spin on top, which is interesting because I still see people doing that in movies today. You know, they took it from China O'Brien.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that. When you first got started in the movies, and you said you got picked. They wanted a guy, but they ended up picking you. So when your first film comes and they're like, all right, let's go over to Hong Kong and do this thing, like what were you just like so elated, or what was it like? Were you nervous, or?
Yeah, I was very nervous. I didn't know what to expect. You know, I remember after training every Sunday, Grandmaster Shum would take us to Chinatown, go have dinner, and watch a kung fu movie. Kung fu! So all the movies I saw were all period films. So I'm thinking, I'm going over, they're going to dress me in Asian clothes, and I'm thinking, oh, I'll probably have long black braids, and they'll put razor blades in my braids, and I'll be like turning my head around. And when I'm coming in, I'm thinking of Return of the Dragon, coming in Hans Island. I'm looking over the water. I have no idea what to expect, right? So then when I get there, they go, no, you're going to play Cindy. You're a cop from England. And I went, oh, it was like so what I didn't think it was going to be. I was like, I didn't even know they did modern martial art movies. So it was quite a shock. It was my first time, you know, doing a movie. Most people didn't speak English on the set. You know, I think the only one that really did was Michelle Yeoh. It was supposed to be 4 months, and we took 7.5 months to shoot that film.
That movie is so amazing. I still pop it in every once in a while. There's a few of your movies where I actually own them, like hard copies. No one owns DVDs and Blu-rays anymore, but that's one I still have. Like years ago, I was like, I gotta get all my Shaw Brothers, and I gotta go my Golden Harvest, and I gotta get all those, because you just never know, you know, how it goes with these digital streaming services. They're there one day, and then the next week they pull them off, so you can't have them anymore.
You know what's great is a lot of companies like Vinegar Syndrome and I think 88 Films, they're releasing all these kung fu movies, and movies that were shot, 30 years ago, they're redoing them, they're remastering them, they're doing the color, and they look phenomenal. And it's so exciting because those movies were so good, especially the fight scenes, that now another generation has the opportunity to see these films.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I think I read, or maybe I heard in another interview you did, that when you were first getting picked to go to Hong Kong and everything, you actually did the tiger hook form. Was that one of your favorites?
Yeah, I was competing with the double hook sword forms. I first learned it from Master Shum, and then I went to Chengdu, China. I trained with the Wushu team back in 1982 when it was really hard to get in. It was very hard to get into China then. And I went up in the mountains and I trained for 6 weeks there and learned that there. And then I kind of combined what they taught me with Master Shum taught me, and that was my weapon. That's what I competed in 1982. I was the first woman ever to win a. Look at that!
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is.
That bring back memories.
Look at that! That was even. Oh, geez, you really found your footage here.
That's the double tiger hooks.
Oh yeah, look at that! Oh my gosh, that's hysterical.
Do you remember where that's from? Like what?
It was in Chinatown, and it was a demonstration that, I remember Doc Wong and Brandon Lai and all these Chinese masters were there, and they all brought students, to perform.
Nice. It's so cool, like watching just like old footage. In fact, I think when I was learning that set, one of my kung fu brothers had actually given me part of that, of you doing that on tape as a reference, so I could like help you.
Oh my gosh, that is before I started competing professionally, actually.
So yeah, let's talk a little bit more, about the movies that you got into acting. That first movie that you're talking about, Yes, Madam, and I got a little part here. I think we're talking about that.
this was my doing from China O'Brien and from from Sammo Hong.
There it is. Nice. And this fight scene is so intense. This is like one of the last fight scenes in the movie. How long did this take you guys to film? There's so much going on.
Yeah, that last scene, just where we came into this location to fight, took 1 month. That was 1 month just in that location doing the ending fight scene.
Wow, awesome. Yeah, and so you like both you and Michelle Yeoh were just new to the game. Was she was a dancer back then, I believe, and not really a martial artist?
She wasn't really a martial artist. That was her third movie, and that was like my first. So I think that was her first action movie. So she picked up the moves pretty good because she was a dancer. And I think that, when the stunts were so hard that, I would do them, so Michelle would do them. So we kind of supported each other into doing these really, really tough stunts, because they're like, oh, yeah. Cynthia could do it, I could do it. Oh, if Michelle could do it, I could do it, So it was a good support team, because Corey Yuen had us do these like crazy, crazy moves.
Right, you guys were doing some stuff. I mean, and technically you weren't a stunt person, so was it like trial by fire? Would they just be like, all right, just do this? And like with the choreography, was like, okay, we'll just do this, but wait, I'm crashing against the wall. Just go for it.
I didn't know movies. I mean, I had to like figure it all out by myself. I didn't do stunts. I did like self-defense demonstrations, so I kind of knew how to react,
Right.
But it came easy. I remember this scene with Dick Wei, right? He hit me in the jaw, and he hit me so hard, he split my internal ear open, and blood started coming from my ear. And I remember thinking, oh my God, I'm going to die. There's blood coming out of my ear, right? And when I went to the doctors, they said, it's so deep that we can't do anything. And then they sent me back to the set, and I continued fighting.
Wow, yeah, this is some intense stuff, man, but so really, really, really good. And like a lot of the hits, like, yes, you might have padding and some stuff, but you're still taking those hits.
Oh yeah, we were so beat up. I mean, any Hong Kong movie I did, that was just part of the territory. You got hurt on every film, like how Jackie Chan does. That's true, it happens to everybody. I had so many bruises, so many close calls. So I thought, oh my God, the next one, I'm going to die. They're going to kill me. And it's like, some of the stuntmen here in LA were like, oh my God, how did you do that? Like, we can't even do that. We're like stunt people. And I was like, yeah, it was crazy. You just gave it your all and went for it.
Right. And so speaking of that, and I know you have so many movies, but like I'm just gonna go through a couple of my favorites. Another one, and technically your new movie's a Western, but when you did Millionaires Express, it was sort of kind of a Western, right? A little bit. Yeah,
it was kind of. I don't know, Richard Norton and I were Confederates, and I don't know how that kind of into Hong Kong, but yeah. And it's so funny because on this one here, right, it's like, well, it's supposed to be in the middle of the winter, so you got to wear 3 pair of pants and 3 shirts, right? And I was like, whoa, I look tubby in that, right? That's because I have all these pants and all these clothes on. But I didn't know enough back then to say, hey, you don't see these under layers that I have. Can I just like not wear them and pretend I have all these clothes on?
Right. Right. It's like, yeah, because it's like
I have like 3 pair of pants on.
Okay. Oh, that's what it is. Yeah, because you do like extra padding in this. And I thought, well, maybe because you're taking all these hits and stuff. But I'm like, okay.
Well, I probably had some on there too, as well.
Okay, got you.
Pads are your friends.
Yeah, no, absolutely. There's one question from here because I love this fight scene so much. And I know it got intense with you and Sammo. That kick is amazing. Every time I see that one, when you like wheel kick them.
Yeah.
Yes, that. Oh my gosh. Hopefully you didn't have to do like 20 takes of that because I'm just like.
There was a funny story with that. Actually, I'm thinking when I went to do that wheel kick, it was, I think Sammo might have had a double there for him. And
okay, good for him.
Then I went to do the kick. Right, Sammo was up above directing. And he said, I kept going over the guy's head because he kept coming in close to me, right? And I'm like, and Sammo was right there. That was Sammo. Sammo was mad because I was going over the guy's head. And I said, well, if I go to his face level, I'm going to hit him, right? And he's like, hit him. And so I
want you to hit me as hard as you can.
I did the kick really slow, and I told the guy, I said, look, if you put your foot in here, I'm going to hit you. I mean, you put your face in there. And he put his face in there, and I hit him, and he fell down, and I felt so bad. And then one of the stunt guys comes up when I was doing Yes Man, and when I was doing that fight scene with all the guys, someone hit me in the nose with the sword, and they go, don't feel so bad. That was the guy that hit you in the nose with the sword. Yes Man.
Oh my gosh, that's insane.
Yeah. And then Sammo was, yes, great. Next shot.
Oh my god. So real quick, I just gotta ask you, because I know in like Hong Kong movies, you guys aren't really like, there's no sound, right? So what are you guys actually saying when you're doing the lines? You know what I mean? Like, I know they dub it in later.
I didn't know what they were saying because they were speaking in Chinese. But
what were you saying?
I never knew what anybody said to me. So I would say, when I went to Hong Kong, everybody said to me, they're notorious for you saying words, your mouth is still moving, and the sound doesn't match. Don't do that. So they said, try to find out how many syllables is in what you're trying to say and try to match that up. So I'd say, what am I supposed to say? You know, and then they would tell me, and I would put my own English to it. And it was funny because it was filmed with completely no sound. And so someone could be angry and they're supposed to be yelling at you. And I'm like yelling back. And then they're like, really soft, and I'm like, why aren't you like yelling at me? Like, you know, you would have more emotion. And they're like, I'm just an actor. Someone will put the voice in, they'll put the emotion in. And I was like, oh geez, right? So it didn't matter what I said. They didn't care if I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Because that wasn't a big thing, is like the words have to match, you know, the dubbing, because I guess they just didn't care. But I was trying to, you know,
kind of match it. Got the right match inflection.
A lot of times I didn't know what was going on, so I would just like make it up or something.
Okay. Because this part here, when Sammo's kind of like smacking you in the head, was he saying anything to you? Was he even speaking English, or just kind of?
I don't know what he was saying to me, but he was saying something.
Yes.
And then I took it like.
Cool. And then Righting Wrongs is another one of my favorites. You and Yuen Biao doing that movie, and so many other people in there. What was that like, filming that? That's a cool movie too.
Yeah, that was another tough one. I mean, they're all tough, but right before I did that movie there, I blew out my anterior cruciate ligament on my right knee. So I couldn't kick with my right leg too good, so I had to put everything back into my left leg. And thank God you couldn't see, because when I was shooting this movie, I thought, the kicks are going to look horrible, because I'm a right leg kicker and I had to do most of my kicks on my left leg. I mean, I blew out my anterior cruciate ligament completely. People usually can't even stand on it. And here I am fighting in this, and I look back at it and go, geez, no wonder where I got a high tolerance for pain.
Right. Yeah, I remember I talked to I think it was like a year ago, to Peter Cunningham, who also had a fight in this movie, and he was saying like it was amazing watching Yuen Biao do his thing, because he could do all this acrobatic stuff, but he was also at the same time, it was like he would have like 2 or 3 scripts he was reading at one time, and like then run to do the scene. Was this experience the same for you? Were you always like, did you see?
No, on set I've never seen a script. I've never seen anybody with a script studying it. It was, as far as I was concerned, everybody knew what they were going to say when they got to the set. You know, you didn't have anything to study. You know, you didn't have. A lot of times when we went there, the people didn't even know what they were shooting until Corey Yuen figured it out. So we went to the set some day saying, the writer didn't write this scene yet. We're waiting for him to come in. That's why it took like 7.5 months to shoot.
So there we go. Grandmaster Cynthia Rothrock, a whole lot of martial arts history there, as you guys already know. And we're not done yet, because in part 2, we'll talk more on her martial arts history and movie career, including...
The toughest scene was right there when he kicks me in the shin and I have to fall on my face. Out of that whole movie, that one hurt the most.
And hopefully you didn't have to do that like 20 times, retaking that.
It's Hong Kong.
Plus, we'll get all the info and inside scoop on her brand new movie, Black Creek, which is in post-production, not now, but right now. Guys, it's been a hell of a year, and I want to thank you all for your continued support, as it helps us to continue to build this channel and community. Don't forget to follow us on all of our socials here and everywhere, so you can keep up to date on everything we've got coming up for the channel in 2024.
Good job, my brother. We rocking with you.
So stay tuned, stay safe, and check out a few other videos you guys are gonna like over here. And see you in the next round. Happy New Year, and as always, Keep punching.
Hey, this is Cynthia Rothrock, and you're watching Kung Fu Chronicles.